Hope y'all are doing good. This is Aaron with Quality Service Today, plumbing out of Mebane, North Carolina. Standing in our training facility that's kind of in the works right now, but I just wanted to kind of give everybody an educational video real quick of why is my electric water heater not heating. Real quick, pretty simple. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your covers off. Good safety practice is to shut the power off before you really get too far into this. So we're going to remove these little screws right here. Take that panel off. Disconnect your power. If you don't have a disconnect box, you'll want to find the breaker. If you don't know where the breaker is, you're definitely going to want to have an electric meter. But we're going to take this lower panel off down here. Typically flathead 1/4 inch. Right here's your lower thermostat and element. Pull that cover off. Upper thermostat and element. So with your power off, we're going to talk about a totally no hot water situation. With your power off, the first thing you're going to want to do, you disconnect your power. Now that you got your covers off, everything's safe, you go ahead and turn your power back on. Power back on. You're going to want to take your amp meter. You're going to want to check the power on these two screws. That's your 240 volts coming in. Turn the meter to volts. So you can see that. I'm using a UEI clamp electric meter. Really good. It's what I've always used over the years. You can buy one from Lowe's. You can buy a cheap one from about any box store. Of course, this is a box store water heater. This goes for any standard electric water heater. It basically doesn't have any kind of smart diagnostic on it or anything like that. It's your most common type electric water heater. So we're gonna check our power coming into the heater. We got 240 volts. So say you test your power, but heater's still not heating. One way you can test if it's heating is you can turn it to amp draw. Hope you can see if it'll focus on that. It's not able to focus. But you're going to put it on amp draw. Turn your temperature up. Set on 125. You clamp your amp clamp on one of your wires. It doesn't really matter which one, going to your top element. We're at 15, almost 16. You want to be about 16 to 18 normally, 19. We're gonna clamp this over here. See, it doesn't matter which wire I'm on. But this heater is heating right now, so we know it's heating. If you weren't getting any amp draw, the first thing you're going to want to do, we tested power. We know we're getting power up here. You're going to want to come back up here. We're going to kill the power again. Just safety reasons. If you're not used to sticking your hands in these, I don't advise. 240 volts does not feel good. You're going to push this little red button right here. And even if doesn't look like it's tripped, if it is tripped, it'll click. You will hear a click. So once the button clicks, if that button clicks, then you know you have a thermostat issue, either the lower one, and the lower one doesn't have a red button. It's pretty cut and simple. But at that time, you should change both thermostats, and we can get into how to change the thermostats right quick while we're on that subject, and then we'll move on. So you've got your power still off to the heater. Double check that. Double check that your power's shut off. Put it on volts. Nothing. Alright, so with the power shut off, probably the best thing to do, take your phone out, snap a picture, especially if you haven't done this a lot. We're going to use my Milwaukee Impact because I don't have my screwdriver with me. I'm going to take these wires back, pull all these wires out. You got two little pressure things on either side of that thermostat. You can pull those out, you can slide it up. Now this process is the same for the bottom one, you just have different screws. Now we're going to get us our new thermostat that we picked up from any local box store or plumbing supplier. And we're gonna put it back in here. Sometimes you got to help these tabs down, but we're just going to push this tab. We're just going to pull them tabs back out. Sometimes you can just shove it down, it'll click back in. See, this one's the same thermostat. If that button there, again, clicks, you have a thermostat issue. It'll start heating, but it means something's sticking. You need to change your thermostats. It's kind of like a fuse. It tripped for a reason. Typically in that case, the water would have gotten extremely hot prior to it losing hot water. It'll stick, it'll get extremely hot, and it'll trip that reset button. If a plumber comes to your house and trips that reset button and tells you to have a nice day, you need to fire your plumber, because he didn't actually fix the source of the problem, he just put the Band-Aid on it. Alright, so like I said, it's going to be the same problem with the bottom one. I can show you. Bottom one, same thing. You only have two screws though. Pretty simple. Pry those out, slide it up. So there is a difference between an upper and a lower thermostat. Get your power back on. Turn the power back onto this unit here. And get it heating again. You're going to take your amp meter again. Check, make sure it's heating. Turn it on amp draw. Clamp it on there. 16 amps. These are, this heater here is 3,500 watt elements. Typically a 4,500 watt element is going to be 18 or 19 amps. So we know it's heating. We got heat there. So you're going to take your screwdriver. I'll show you on this old one here. Take your screwdriver and you're going to turn the temperature all the way down on the top one. Once the top one's all the way hot, it's set at 90 degrees, it's going to send power to the bottom one. It goes down to the bottom one, check, 16 amps. So we know that we have power to both, we're heating both. You're going to take this screwdriver again, you're going to set your temperature, 100 degrees, 125 degrees per North Carolina state code. I'll talk a lot about North Carolina codes because that's where we're at. North Carolina state codes, 120 degrees max. Anything over 120 degrees drops down in the seconds. People start getting scalded. Once you got all that done, put your covers back on. Don't touch the wires. Put the top cover on. You can fold them wires back. You put your covers back on the face of it. Boom. You got new thermostats in your water heater. Alright. That being said, now thermostats. We walk up, water heater's not heating. Scenario 2. Water heater's not heating. Reset button's not resetting, not tripped. Push that little red button, it doesn't click. We turn our thermostats up. You're going to come over here, you're going to come to your temperature. The thing we can do is feel the hot pipe. Is the hot pipe hot? Turn your temperature all the way up. Put your hand clamp on the wire feeding the thermostat. We're not getting any reading. Phillips head screwdriver. We're going to disconnect these wires. Some people say you don't have to disconnect both. I highly advise it. The element's broke. Sometimes you'll catch a good reading if you don't disconnect both wires. Let's turn this meter to ohms. Test our leads. Listen to it beep. It's beeping. Checking both. Check the ground. Scratch the tank. If the element does not beep, it is bad. It's an ohming out. It's so much easier with a digital meter. If you're trying to do this without a digital meter, it's going to be extremely difficult. So, element's bad. Same process with the bottom element. Exact same process. Check this element, go down to the bottom, check the lower element. So, we found our element's bad. Upper element's bad. We're going to hook a hose up. We're going to drain this water heater down. Alright. This water heater's in a pan. And it has a plastic boiler drain. That's how I know this water heater came from a box store. Get our hose positioned on there. These plastic boiler drains strip extremely easy. Cross thread. And drain the heater down. on how to drain a heater, look up my video on how to flush your water heater. So we've drained our water heater down. We've disconnected our wires from our element because the element is bad. Now I'd suggest change both of them. Typically it's going to be a bottom element. So we're going to drain the water heater down. We're going to pull the element out. On the side of this element, it's going to tell you 3500 watt, 200 volt minimum. Make sure you buy the same element. If you live in if it's a manufactured home, most likely it's going to be a 3500 watt element. You put too big of an element in there, you mess up your electrical system. We're going to take our new element. I don't have a brand new element, so I'm just going to show y'all. You put it back in there. When you pull that original element out, make sure your rubber seal here came out with it. If your rubber seal stuck there, you're going to have a problem with it sealing and going back in. To get this started, we're going to take our element wrench and thread it back in. This is an 1.5 inch regular socket. You can buy an element wrench at there again at a box store in the water heater section. We're going to tighten that up. We're going to put our wires back together. These wires do not matter where they go. Put your wires on there. It doesn't matter which one it goes on. You're going to fill your water heater back up. Make sure it's totally full. There again, I got a video on how to drain your water heater, how to flush it. Watch that video, same process. You fill it back up, turn your power back on. We're going to go ahead and get this thing filling, and then we'll wrap it up. So we got the heater totally filled back up. We're going to put our covers back on. We're going to set our temperature to 120 degrees. Set our temperature to 120 degrees on both thermostats. Now you turn your power back on. About 30-45 minutes, the water will be totally hot again. As long as you followed all the processes, you watch my video on how to flush the water heater and refill it. Biggest thing is don't turn the power back on until the heater's all the way full. Send me a message. I'm more than happy to help you out. I hope you got something out of this, whether you're a homeowner, young plumber, somebody wanting to get into the trade. I'm going to be trying to get more videos out real quick. Hope you all have a good one.